What is going on, college basketball fans? And yes, UConn basketball is back. They are for real. They are not frauds. I'm here to tell you, I watched a lot of UConn basketball so far this year. I watched them dominate the Phil Knight Invitational Tournament. I watched them last night against Florida, and they are not frauds. I believe that they have championship level potential and have the deepest team in the country. We're here to break down their roster and how deep it is and how they stack up against other championship level teams. Let's go. All right, so first let's break down this roster, starting with the starting five. So at point guard, they have transfer from East Carolina. What an underrated pickup this was here for Dan Hurley. I mean, Tristan Newton averaged at East Carolina last year 17 a game, goes to UConn. He's averaging 11 points and 4 assists, shooting almost 40% from behind the arc. Just a great fit for this UConn team. And paired up with sophomore phenom Jordan Hawkins. I'm a big Jordan Hawkins fan. This guy can shoot the lights out. He's a true 6'5". Really, both Tristan Newton and Jordan Hawkins are a true 6'5", or at least 6'4". They are tall, lengthy guards, good defenders as well. And buy stock now in Jordan Hawkins because I believe he is going to be a star and he is going to be a huge piece of this team. And a lot of what he does and how much he can improve throughout the season is going to really determine how far I think this UConn team can go when we get to March. But we have to talk about the forward position because out of nowhere, we have a superstar brewing in Andre Jackson Jr. The best words I can say to describe his play is an amazing basketball player, an all-around player. This guy is so good. I mean, at 6'6", he's an insane athlete, a great passer, a great rebounder, a good defender to have there at the forward position, and he's just like, the net ratings, the nerds, they would love this guy because whenever he is on the court, he is like a net positive 100. Like, he is helping this team so much in every facet of the game. It is crazy, and he is starting to get a jump shot. If he can get a jump shot, I mean, he is going to be, like, NBA prospects are going to be drooling over this guy if he gets a jump shot. But he's averaging 5, 6, and 4. He just recently got incorporated into the starting five because he has been playing so amazingly off the bench. He had a great tournament in the Phil Knight Invitational, and this guy has a lot of potential. I could see him dropping some triple doubles this year, and it is not easy to drop triple doubles in college basketball, but I could definitely see him doing it. What a huge player for this team. And then you have at the power forward position Alex Caravan, a really good freshman, and we're going to talk about another freshman off the bench in a little bit. It's hard to tell which one is having the better freshman season up to this point, but Alex Caravan has been an excellent presence on this team, averaging almost 10 points a game, and it looks like the future, not only does UConn have championship level potential this year, but the future is looking very bright for the Huskies. But at center, we all know they have a star in Sanogo. He was a beast last year. He's a beast again, averaging 18 and 7. He could probably average more, but we have another center to talk about off the bench. And if it wasn't for him, I think Sanogo would be averaging a lot more, but that's not such a bad thing. It's good to have a lot of bench depth, and boy, does this team have it, because off the bench, at center, the other freshman, he had an insane game against Florida last night. Donovan Clingan, I'm a huge fan of this guy. He's a 7'2" center, averaging 9 and 6 in his freshman year. I mean, he's going to earn more minutes as the year goes on. It's just so crazy how this team has so many players. Like, they can run 10-man deep and still have players who can come into the game and make a good impact. Also off the bench, you have Joey Calcaterra, who is shooting 57% from behind the arc. I mean, what a gift that is to have off the bench. A guy who can shoot the lights out. That good. I mean, you know how hard it is to shoot above 50% from behind three-point line, especially at the D1 level? It's very, very impressive. Other notable names, you have Samson Johnson, you got Hassan Diarra. I mean, this team runs so deep and they have so much potential, and I'm very, very excited to see what this team can do in the rest of the season, and especially when we get to March. Now I want to talk about their potential and how they stack up against other teams. So at this point, UConn is 10-0. They've won every game by at least 10 points or more, and they have really good wins over Alabama, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and now Florida, which they have dominated in those games, especially on the rebounding with their bench scoring. They're most likely going to be undefeated going into Big East League play. As long as they can knock off Long Island, they will be undefeated heading into the Big East, and that is so huge. How they match up against some of these top teams, I think they match up the best against this Purdue team because they have Zach Edey, which is such a mismatch problem for most teams. I think UConn matches up very well against them. They have long defensive guards who are going to be able to dominate the matchups between Purdue's freshman guards, who are also a bit shorter. And also, Zach Edey won't be too much of a problem for them because they have Donovan Clingan, who is 7'2", going to be able to body him up. And I still think Zach Edey would have an impact, but Sanogo could probably hold his own too. I mean, Sanogo is a big guy. He's very strong. He's, that's a grown man. He's going to be able to hold his own against Zach Edey. I think they match up very well against Purdue. Now, against Virginia is a team that I consider to be a championship, one of the championship favorites at this point in the season. I think that with Andre Jackson, I think he could be a mismatch problem, especially as an athlete. Virginia does have some good athletes, but also, again, Sanogo and Clingan. I think that they could be mismatch problems against this Virginia team. I definitely could see Virginia throwing some double teams at them, but also I just think that that's going to open up some opportunities for these three-point shooters to get the ball off, like Tristan Newton, especially Jordan Hawkins, and also Joey Calcaterra. I mean, this team can shoot the lights out, and if you're playing inside-out basketball where you get it down low, draw the double team, kick it out, that's going to be all day for these shooters, and they have so many good shooters that even when some of them are having an off day, they can still light it up. So this team is looking very good. I like how they stack up against a lot of the field, especially some of the best teams in the country. This team kind of reminds me of 2017 Gonzaga just a little bit. That team made the national championship game and lost to North Carolina in a close game. But Sanogo, with Clingan coming off the bench, it kind of reminds me of Karnowski on Gonzaga, who was a good player, but he wasn't as good as Sanogo. But then they had Zach Collins coming off the bench, who was a top NBA prospect and a freshman, and that kind of reminds me of Clingan coming off the bench. So yes, Sanogo is better than Karnowski, but that kind of reminds me of that duo. And then you have Andre Jackson Jr., who is kind of like your Rui Hachimura of that team. So kind of reminds me of that team. I think UConn has a lot of potential to go deep, and at this point, I don't know who is going to be able to stop them. I mean, they match up very well against a lot of teams. And I thought coming into this season that Creighton was going to be the Big East favorites heading into this year, but UConn has really elevated, and especially after that Creighton loss to Nebraska, they come down here. I just don't know how Creighton's going to be able to keep up with this team, because Creighton has an outstanding lineup and an amazing starting five, but they have literally zero depth on that team. They have no bench play, and UConn is just going to be able to wear them out. I think at the very worst, they split with Creighton 1-1 this year. I think there's no way UConn loses to Creighton at home. But on the road, I could see them splitting with them. But even then, I think UConn gives them a good game and maybe even beats them on the road just because of how deep this team is. So let me know what you guys think. I think that they're clearly the Big East favorites and going to win the conference this season. And I think there are going to be at minimum a top 2 seed going into March and could make a very, very deep run and have potential to win it all. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe for more college basketball content. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.